Thank you very much, Bob. Good afternoon, everybody. As Bob says, my name is Jonathan Hodges. I'm going to talk to you about wave energy economics and how we can try and get more clarity from our economic modelling in order to help the industry forward. First of all, just a little bit of information about Marine Energy Matters, or MEM. We are a wave and tidal focused consultancy business spread across a wide range of activities in the marine energy industry, but focused purely on wave and tidal energy. The key areas of work that we get involved in are a lot of strategy and policy development work for local governments and government agencies. We have developed quite a project development capability, including geographical information systems, financial modelling, as I'm talking about today, and site selection project management. We've been very successful recently with funding for technology developers and other people active in the industry. We've supported a number of engineering companies into the industry, so we do a lot of industry entry support, and something that we're keen to do more of over the coming years is assisting investors as they come into the industry and want to understand more about their options in the industry. So wave energy economics, something that a lot more clarity is required on in order to support the industry on its way towards commercial development. The more clarity that we can have in terms of understanding of the future economics, the more we can strengthen the investor understanding and strengthen their confidence to invest in the industry. So in MEM recently, we've been developing a lot of financial modelling capability. We started off doing this in the wave energy industry, helping with understanding of the commercial pathways towards those large wave energy developments. We've also now extended that into tidal stream and tidal range. And one of the key things we've realised is that the quality of those models is only as good as the quality of the data you put into them. So I want to talk a bit about how we can develop the knowledge of those modelling inputs. So why are we all here? There's a great deal of activity with product development and prototype development going on in the industry, and everyone's working hard on that in order to get to the common goal of commercial arrays in the future. In order to get that, what we need is clearly investor confidence that enables those people to invest in the industry and push it towards that commercial goal. In order to give them that confidence, there's a series of things that we really need to be able to show that we can do and that we've got. Things like project developments, things for them to invest in the first place. Those need grid connections and site leases. And in order to be able to make those commercially viable, we need a massive amount of cost reduction over the cost of the devices today and the activities surrounding those devices. We need reliable technology, and we need predictable performance. So we need a lot of help along the way in order to get those things which provide the investors with that confidence. So there's a whole industry support activity going on around that, starting with financial modelling that gives us an understanding of what the economics are of those developments. That enables us to understand what the commercialisation pathway is from where we are now to the big developments, which then can bring some earlier investor confidence, bring their funding in, which then helps us actually deliver the things in the pink boxes there that we needed in the first place. So the industry support agencies, such as ourselves, are intending to help develop investor confidence earlier and push us along the way. So that's the intention of the work we're doing. When we start looking at financial models, I thought it was key to look at some of the main impacts and main factors that go into those models that have the biggest impact on the results. So things like capital cost, operating costs, how much power you actually generate from your development, and what revenue stream you get, how much you get paid for the energy that you do generate. So looking at those factors and how they change over the years or over the increases in installed capacity shows that in order to model them, there's some complex activities, complex changes going on that we need to try and understand. So capital costs, we know that we need a lot of cost reduction to happen over the years. Those capital costs have got to come down. Power generated is going to increase as we go to higher energy sites and we improve the efficiency of our machines. Operating costs are going to come down as we become well practiced with operating these devices. And we know at the moment we've got a fixed revenue stream, but we also know at some point in 15 years that's going to drop, and we don't know by how much. So there's already some complexities involved in modelling the economics, but then when you start to look in more detail, you realise these lines aren't as accurate as you might think. So first of all, capital costs. As we just discussed just a second ago, there's a wide range of different devices in the wave energy industry, all different shapes and sizes. So there's some uncertainty right from day one of exactly how much those prototype devices are going to cost. There's also some uncertainty in how much cost reduction that we're going to get over the years. So that tight red line is actually much broader with a lot more uncertainty on it. Same goes for power generation. At the moment, it's quite a tricky subject to model because there's a lot of competition in the industry. All of the product developers are closely guarding the performance of their machines. And there's quite a lot of estimation to be done in terms of what capacity factor you're likely to get out of a development in the future. We expect those to become clearer as we move forward, and we expect some improvement in the efficiencies within those. But again, some uncertainty there to be dealt with. Operating costs, again, lots of different machines to be operated and maintained in lots of different ways. The costs will come down as we learn, but in order to estimate at the moment what the cost of operation is for a large development, there's a lot of clarity required. And the last one, revenue stream. Now, the next 15 years is the only single thin line on the graph now, because we know that we've got a lot of clarity of what we're getting for that 15 years, but when it drops off, as it inevitably will, we don't know how much by. So I thought it was a good idea to just ask a few questions. How can we improve clarity for the investor coming into the industry? So what don't we know? Which of these inputs and main parameters do we need more information on? What can we actually expect to know? Because, as I said, there's a lot of competition in the industry. It would be naive for me to stand here and say that all of the device developers are going to give me all of their performance data right now, because that's probably not the case. So within those constraints of all the commercial secrets, how can we improve the knowledge that goes in and therefore help to improve the clarity for the investor? So looking at those four main parameters that I spoke about a minute ago, capital costs. You might think that we're going to improve our knowledge of those capital costs through technology homogenization and narrowing down to a single design. But again, as we just spoke about a second ago, we've got a wide range of different technologies in the wave energy industry. And I think that's something that we're going to stay with, because unlike tidal and wind, we do have a massively wide range of different sites, of different wave energy climates, and a lot of those different machines are suited to those different areas. So that's something that we're going to stay with. So perhaps instead of narrowing down in technology types, what our job is to carry out some support of the investment community to help them understand that situation and understand why we've got a series of different devices and why we're perhaps not in the same situation that tidal stream industry is or the offshore wind industry is. So while it's difficult, that's something we're going to have to stay with in the wave energy industry, I believe. The other thing that we need to know more of is the balance of plant. So the technology devices are the massive majority of the costs of a big development. But there are other parts of those, such as at-sea collection devices or connection to the grid, which is key and common across all of the different development types. So perhaps there are technologies there that we can improve our understanding of the costs without problems with the competition between developers. The other three types of issue that I talked about, power generation. At the moment, there's a lot of estimation going into financial models of a capacity factor, how much energy you're going to generate from a site. As I said, it's difficult for me to expect that the technology developers are going to give out power conversion matrices at this stage because of the competition between them. But perhaps that is the direction we're going to have to go in the longer term, and that's something that we need to move towards more quickly with the kind of sharing of knowledge that Janine spoke about. Operating costs, as I said, are something that's not particularly well understood and is going to come through operator learning and experience as they work with all those different device types and head towards an understanding of what reliability we've got and therefore how much activity is required at sea. So we need to know more about the clear O&M strategies that are going to be employed as we go to larger offshore developments. And possibly one of the biggest ones is the revenue stream. As I said, at some point in the future, we're going to drop off in terms of the fixed revenue that we get. And I saw a slide which was quite striking yesterday of the size of the hiatus in the offshore wind industry over the next 2 or 3 years, of just how little development is going to, offshore construction is going to go in, due to the fact that investors and developers over the last few years weren't sure about what price they were going to get out of the recent strike price update. So it's clear that we need ongoing discussion with the government in order to reduce that uncertainty or deal or manage with that uncertainty, so that just at the point where we're starting to build up the investment into the wave and tidal industry, we don't end up with a similar hiatus as we've seen in the offshore wind industry. So just to summarise, it's clear that modelling helps develop investor confidence and helps them understand the prospects that can come from the wave energy industry and the risks that they are faced with in the industry, and helps us to define to them what the pathways are towards a commercial proposition. The situation is, though, that the more sharing and more information we get to put into those models, the better the model realism is and the more confidence we can have from them. So what we need to do is continue to develop the knowledge of the inputs, continue to share amongst the industry as much as we possibly can within sensible bounds, and to develop our understanding of what the power generation capability is going to be, what it is now, and how we expect it to improve in the future, and perhaps gather more information about the costs of that balance of plant, which isn't specific to the range of technologies that we've got in the wave energy industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Are there any questions from the audience? Looking past the bright lights. Can't see any. One on the left.
My name is Natasha Madeira from the Energy Technology Partnership. I'm interested in the issues that you have around data and data sharing. What initiatives have you been involved in to try and facilitate more data sharing so far, or what are you looking or hoping to do?
In terms of initiatives, that's not something we've really been doing. But what we try to do is to build a strong relationship with the technology developers and also the people that are going to be operating and installing these farms, to try and build the best understanding we possibly can get within the sort of security of information that is going on in the industry at the moment. So a case of building relationships and trying to understand the best information we can.
Any further questions? In that case, we'll move swiftly on to our next speaker.